Good morning and welcome to the special joint meeting of the Board of Water and Power with the Board of Public Works. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. This proceeding is being broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Board of Water and Power Commissioners, please say present for roll call. Commissioner NURIT KATZ.
Present.
President Richard KATZ.
Present.
Commissioner LEHRER.
Present.
Vice President MCGRAW.
Present.
Commissioner PINDER.
Present.
5 board members. A quorum is present. I will now turn it over to the Public Works Secretary, TJ.
Thank you, Priscilla. TJ Knight with the Board of Public Works. Good morning. Board of Public Works Commissioners, please say present for roll call. I will note that Board President Vahid Khorsand is absent on an approved city business. So we'll start with Vice President Chavez.
Present.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Present.
Commissioner Kang.
Present.
And Commissioner Mitchell.
Present.
Thank you. We have 4 board members. A quorum is present. I will now turn it over to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners, President KATZ.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to our colleagues in this joint meeting of both boards. We actually both have quorum, so that's a good thing. So we're going to take advantage of that. And I want to welcome everybody. It's good to see a lot of old friends and new friends, and some that I have interesting history with because we worked together in Sacramento years ago. And it's good to see you all here today. This is a unique meeting because there's been a lot of very creative and constructive work done over the last year between both commissions and both agencies as we look to implement goals that we all agree upon and the mayor has expressed for the city of Los Angeles and moving forward. And so today we're going to have a presentation. We're going to have a presentation from both agencies on where we are on achieving those goals. So rather than listen to me ramble, we're going to go back and I'm going to turn it over to Jenny Chavez to speak on behalf of her commission.
Thank you and good morning. It is really a pleasure to be here. Thank you, President KATZ, for welcoming us into your home. I am pleased to be here with my fellow colleagues. Today's a pivotal moment in recent LA history. For the first time in 13 years, our boards have come together to meet, united by a singular critical mission, securing our city's water future. You know, this project that we're going to get a presentation on is, it's more than just about infrastructure. It's about people and basically trying to chart a path that is a bold path for us as a city in an era of environmental challenges and in the face of trying to chart new resiliency. I think water is a way for us to clear that path. And for almost 2 years, our teams have been working together, the hard-working men and women of the Department of Water and Power and the LA Sanitation and Environment Department, spearheaded by our fearless women leaders, Barbara Romero and Janice Quinones. You know, this has been an extraordinary partnership. When I came on board, a lot of the work had been already done by my predecessors. I had the pleasure of working with my colleague, Commissioner NURIT KATZ, and we hit it off and thought it would be a tremendous idea to get our boards together, to get a presentation on what our goals are for this project, where we're going, where we've been, and how we get there. And that's what brought us here today. So I want to thank my colleagues on the board, Vice President Grant, Commissioner Kang, and Commissioner Mitchell, who agreed to do this fun journey up the Grand Park and get up here. And it's a pleasure to be here. And we're pleased to work together on this.
You're more than welcome, and we appreciate the cooperation between the two agencies. Hadn't realized it was 13 years since the last time we all saw each other in the same meeting. Tells you something. I'm not sure that's a lucky number all the time, but it is for us today. And for a city that has a reputation of not being able to get along with each other in terms of departments and agencies.
Don't admit that in public.
Well, we can say it in public today because we are getting along right now. So we got to highlight those opportunities and hope it becomes a long-term trend. So with that, Ms. Quiones,
Yeah.
our CEO.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and I echo your feelings. I think 13 years is a long time, and we should do this more often. So I really want to extend a warm welcome to the Board of Public Works and LA San and Barbara, to our humble abode here in DWP. Thank you for making the time to participate in this special joint meeting today. I also want to thank both of our board, our Department of Water and Power commissioners, and our Public Works board for supporting this important project for the city of LA. I also want to welcome some of our other partners that are here present, MWD, West Basin, and WRD. This type of projects take a village, and it's good to see the collaboration from all the water agencies in the county. This is a program that no single agency could accomplish alone. It requires partnership and collaboration with our fellow city agency, LA Sanitation, and it's enabled both agencies to contribute their distinct knowledge, skills, and expertise to create and implement a program that will have resounding impacts on the future of Los Angeles. Our water supply and that of the water supply sustainability, reliability, and resilience in the face of natural disasters. Pure Water Los Angeles is proof of how we have been tracking the impacts of climate change to our water supplies. Resiliency in operations and supplies have always been top of mind as part of our urban water management plan, and we are committed more than ever to enhance our local water supplies to keep us water strong and climate resilience. So I know there has been a lot of work on this program behind the scenes. A lot of our teams have been working relentlessly, and we have some key accomplishments that have been recently achieved, which we will be sharing today. So I look forward to hearing the report from our LADWP and LA San colleagues about the program's progress and updates, and to having the opportunity for all of us to discuss this program further. So I'm going to pass it to Barbara and my colleague here.
Good morning, Barbara Romero, Director and General Manager of LA Sanitation and Environment. As it is a symbolic day today, that we are here collectively, putting two boards together is one of those things that the public might not realize, but it's a hard thing to do. So I think it's symbolic of what we're here to celebrate, our shared goals towards a pure water Los Angeles. And as my colleague here, Janice, has stated, we are excited to hear the presentation today. But I think it's also an opportunity to look, not look at what sanitation, hear what we have learned from sanitation and from DWP studies, but look at the critical moment about the bridging document that it's gonna just define what the city of Los Angeles, not what DWP or sanitation is doing, but what is the city doing? And so that fundamental shift is a critical milestone for the city of Los Angeles. It's one of those things that we have a common belief in equity, and we're both passionate about that. So when we're looking at these plans, we are looking at how we are going to have an equitable distribution of our infrastructure to improve all our communities. In the plan, we included an equity roadmap to ensure that we meet not only our equity goals, but have an inclusive community involvement in that. I want to celebrate the work that staff has been doing on this work, but I also want to mark this again and emphasize that this is a launch to provide us in a direction to guide us in providing alternatives of how we look at a climate resilient water, a sustainable water future for Los Angeles and future generations to come. So happy to be here to answer any questions. And again, congratulations to the staff that have worked on this. And thank you for this gesture, because it is an important gesture from both the boards. And it describes the support and the importance that you believe in doing this work. Thank you very much.
Barbara, thank you very much for your comments, and thank you for all the hard work you've done and your commission's done on bringing us this point, and your staff and all their involvement. Just like the men and women at DWP, I know the folks that work on your projects are just as committed, and this shared vision for the city and the future. It's sort of interesting, far be it from me to say anything political, but I was listening to a congressional hearing on the way in, and it was fairly frightening, actually, a Senate hearing. But the thing that I found interesting and relevant to what we're doing today is that for the first time, I believe, in 19 years, climate change was left out of the national threat assessment as threats to the United States. For 19 years, bipartisan administrations, that's been approved, but not this year. That was dropped. Not as important, I guess, to some people. But that won't slow us down, because we're going to go ahead and do what we think is right, as we tend to do in Los Angeles anyhow. But we're going to do it collaboratively with our colleagues and with the citizenry in Los Angeles. Commissioners, comments?
We can wait until after the presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
You guys, okay? Yep. Who we got?
Let's see here.
Public comment
To
now?
people providing public comment, when it is your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you'd like to speak to. You will have 2 minutes per item, up to 4 minutes total. If you are speaking on a specific item, you must stay on topic. Otherwise, your time will be forfeited, and it will revert to general public comment. If you would like to speak for general public comment as well as a specific agenda item, you will have 1 additional minute on top of whatever time you have for your comments on the agenda item or items. If you are only speaking for general public comment, you will have 2 minutes. During general public comment, members of the public may speak to any of the items and anything else within LADWP subject matter jurisdiction. A timer will sound when your time allotment has expired.
Thank you. We'll now go ahead and open public comment at this time. We have 2 speaker cards. Our first speaker is John Benarski, followed by Bruce Resnick. When you approach the podium, please state your name and the item number you'd like to speak on. And again, you have 2 minutes to provide your comment.
Good morning, members of both boards. My name is John Bednarski. I am the Assistant General Manager and Chief Operating Officer at the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. I'm speaking today on the Pure Water LA Master Plan. On behalf of Metropolitan, I want to thank you for the time allotted to make comments on this plan. Metropolitan, as you know, is a regional water wholesaler providing water to 19 million Southern Californians, including the city of Los Angeles. Metropolitan supports our member agencies developing their own local water supplies. Water recycling, like Pure Water LA, is a local water supply, and it's resilient in the face of increasing uncertainty due to climate change, as was just mentioned. Metropolitan is also exploring our own pure water facility in conjunction with the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts. Our Pure Water Southern California and the Pure Water LA systems provide roughly similar amounts of water. Each of them is among the largest plants in the world, and together and in combination with other work that's taking place in Southern California, this region is poised to be a global hub of investment in water purification and reuse. There are many opportunities for us to share information, leverage our respective investments, and advocate and communicate together about these important programs. I'd like to speak to you a little bit about one of our recent collaborations between the city and Metropolitan and some of the other agencies pursuing water reuse. Nearly 3 years ago, the Water Reuse Collaborative was formed between Metropolitan and the city and began quarterly gatherings with other affected agencies to share information at executive and senior manager levels about pure water proposals. We call this the Regional Water Reuse Collaborative, and about a dozen agencies are currently involved in that effort. Our shared statement of intent says, we recognize that infrastructure investments, regulatory decisions, and funding commitments made today will have lasting effects for both our agencies and our region. And it notes a range of topics where collaboration can be beneficial, from improved operational flexibility, enhanced regional water supply reliability, to workforce development strategies. Metropolitan is keenly interested in supporting your master planning project, and we want to work with you together to build water reuse in the city of Los Angeles and for Southern California. We look forward to continuing to collaborate with the city in these important endeavors to build water resilience and water security for Los Angeles and the region. Thank you very much.
Sir, before you step away,
Yes.
would you please extend to your board commissioner, Carl Douglas,
Yes.
that Commissioner WILMA PINDER and Commissioner Mia LEHRER, we greatly appreciate the tour that we were given of the metro system and all of the water delta areas, starting north of Sacramento and all the way down. We were there together and we enjoyed that. We learned something, and your presentations were excellent. Neither of us have ever forgotten what we saw, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you very, very much. I'll
Please let
pass that
him
on
know.
to the director.
Thank you.
And we'll move next to Mr. Bruce Resnick. If you'd please state your name and the item number you'd like to speak on.
Sure. My name is Bruce Resnick. I'm the Executive Director of LA Waterkeeper. I'm here also to speak about the Pure Water LA Master Plan. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. LA Waterkeeper has long been an advocate for recycled wastewater in our efforts to promote resilient local water supplies. Unfortunately, Mark Gold from NRDC and Tracy Quinn from Heal the Bay couldn't be here this morning, so sending their regards as well. And while I'm speaking on behalf of myself, I think I'm sharing their thoughts as well. Today is obviously a day to celebrate. This is another critical milestone in moving Pure Water LA forward, and recognizing the increased collaboration between the agencies as recognized by this first joint meeting in 13 years. I also want to recognize that we have all along been working very closely with the staffs at both agencies, LA SAN and LADWP, and recently had a briefing of this plan from Anselmo and his team at LADWP, which I thought was very productive and constructive. And at that meeting, we laid out some of our concerns. And I think it's important that we put those out, as excited as we are to have this plan, to recognize the city is thinking very big. The first big concern that I think the NGOs have is just the extended timeline. We're looking at now 2056 for the big bulk of recycled water, 130 MGD. That's 3 decades from now, 2 decades after the original 2035 goal, which we recognize was pretty ambitious. In today's environment, where literally our sources of water are drying up before our eyes, we need to move much more quickly, which brings us to a second concern, which is the phasing of the project, which we're okay with the phasing, but phase 1 is going to take the longest at 16 years. It's going to be the most expensive at $10 billion, probably the most controversial. This includes a lot of the piping and potential, delays in litigation, environmental review, and delivers the least amount of yield at 50 MGD. Maybe less if it's pulling some of the water. Can I go another minute? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
So we're just worried that doesn't set the project up for success. So focusing on where we need to move forward, and again, had very productive conversations with staff. Can we be doing more up in the valley? The valley is half the population. I'm from the valley. It's half the population. It's half the wastewater. It's half where the water goes. It's where the basin, San Fernando Basin is, and the filtration plant. And we're still sending a lot of water down to go up north. Can we almost look at this as 2 different systems? And lastly, and somewhat related to that, could we look at a master plan for recycled water for the city that's looking not just at Pure Water LA, but how that interfaces with Tillman and Burbank and Glendale and West Basin, and potentially integrates with Pure Water Southern California and any other projects? And just to note, again, we're big advocates for the project. We just want to make sure it comes in as cost effectively with minimizing environmental and community impacts and carbon footprint. And we we look forward to working with both boards and all the staff to make sure that we can deliver on that project. Thank you very much.
Bruce, thanks for your comments. I was just going to say that always appreciate suggestions on accelerating time schedules, particularly the long ones in the beginning that they may not have the greatest yield, but they lay the foundation for everything else. So we got to make sure we get it right. But any suggestions you all have on that, we'd appreciate.
Do you want me to answer or just talk to you later?
No, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think our thinking is kind of what I laid out is, we have a lot of source water, wastewater from the valley. I don't know exactly how much, but I think the valley is 1.8 million people, so about half the population, so probably half the wastewater. I think a slightly more than half of the water usage is in the valley. We've got the basin, and so can we look for wins where we're doing things, even bigger expansion in Tillman, working with Burbank, Glendale, to try to keep as much of the source water there treated, think really big at Tillman. Can Tillman go to 80 MGD or maybe 100 MGD? So you're not having to do all that piping and pumping. And as I mentioned, our goal in the environmental community, I think this is important because I think there may be some misunderstanding, is we absolutely want to maximize the amount of recycled wastewater as quickly as possible, but we want to do it with as minimal costs, community impacts, environmental impacts, carbon footprint, and that's from piping and pumping. And so can we do that in the valley and at the same time do the same thing in the central part, downtown LA, West, where, we are ramping up Hyperion, going quick, but looking where we can get that water to Central Basin, West Basin, looking at the partnerships there. And so almost looking at its two systems where we get, it's kind of like mediation or when you pass a funding, you want to hit wins quickly, big wins quickly. And this takes the very opposite approach. And I worry that that's going to actually undermine the entire project. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks for all your work on this also, and the other organizations as well, and MWD for partnering with all of us as well. Thank you. It's going to take a collaborative approach. It's going to take all of us, and then it's going to take more on top of that. So we'll try and make sure that, just as from our standpoint, it won't be 13 years before we have another joint meeting as a way to keep moving this forward. Comments by commissioners?
I would just like to comment to you, President, the one, and I see it today more than usual, the fact that you do have this legislative background, the fact that you have been monitoring California all of your life, even when you're not elected. We as commissioners here, you're speaking to us today, we know this is a revolving area here. It changes. Water for California doesn't change. And I know you know that vision, and it's very much appreciated. So we want you to leave as big a handprint on everything we do while we are this collective commission here, because you do understand and you do know what is important. And I love your use of the word look for wins. With this president here, we are looking for wins. We don't wait for football season. We don't wait for the Dodgers to have their season. We look for wins, be it spring, summer, winter, fall, whenever it is. So I really thank you, President KATZ, for the leadership you're giving all of us, and you certainly allowed me to get on board as quick as I could, along with our other commissioners here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. And NURIT?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll save most of my comments for after the presentation. Really looking forward to hearing from staff here, but I do want to thank Waterkeeper for their comments and just reiterate how committed we are to working with NGOs and local technical experts. I know that our staff have been meeting with a number of local experts, and this really is an effort that will take collaboration across the region and across the state. So thank you also to MWD for being here. This has been a long time in the making. This really is a historic day. Long before I was commissioner here, I was a stakeholder in One Water LA back in 2014, 2016. I know some of our staff have been at this even longer, but it's been a really long journey to get here today. So I want to acknowledge Commissioner Reyes is in the audience, who played a very important role in this, and Commissioner Teresa Villegas as well, although I don't think she's here in person. Thank you. Thank you so much for your leadership, Commissioner Reyes, and for helping spearhead all of this collaborative effort across our commissions that has now been integrated into the Climate Cabinet and Water Resilience. And then my fellow Commissioner, George McGraw, as well, has been a major part of this on the DWP side. So we're really excited now to work with Commissioner Chavez and to move this effort forward. Really looking forward to hearing from staff, and I'll give more comments after the presentation. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? All right. By the way, Jenny, please let Vahid know it's okay for him to come downtown once in a while. I know he's very Valley-centric, and we greatly appreciate that, but he's welcome down here also.
I will pass along the message that he has a downtown passport.
There you go. It's short, like mine. You know, it's like 12 hours or something like that.
pick him up.
They make me leave, but no, give him our best though, and thank you for representing. All right, yes.
I just also like to say thank you to Waterkeepers and Heal the Bay and all our stakeholders, because I think it's important that we get that kind of feedback and input from our partners on this. And as a city, we need to what you're going to hear. I want to just set ground setting before our presenters from our staff go on board, is that after these studies, we're going to start the CEQA process. And both the plans are going to guide the work, but the result, there's a lot of research that was done and but there's still as well, now it's going to launch the public process that will help determine how we move forward. So when you're hearing the presentation, look for those things that kind of create the framework. But also, it's one of those considerations that we also have to be mindful of, that these projects are, take decades to actually implement. So we also have to be mindful that, it's some of these shifts, we've, like some people said, we've been working on some of these efforts since, a couple decades already in the planning efforts. So when we're shifting, then it starts the clock back over. So I think there is some things that we need to ensure that we continue to do, but there's always an opportunity to make some shifts, but there's some, pros and cons with that. So I just want us to be mindful as you're hearing the presentations that these are kind of guideposts. Thank you very much.
Barbara, as you know, and all the rest, none of this work is for the faint of heart. And patience is helpful, but we can't be too patient, because we'll never get it done either. So.
Exactly.
All right. Neighborhood council reps? Nothing. Okay. Dr. Pickle?
A favorite phrase of a respected former president was, plans are worthless, but planning is essential. And I think we need to keep that in mind in this process. The impact on rates from our ambitions in power and in sanitation have a very big impact on customers. And I think we have the opportunity to improve those costs over time through collaboration across multiple entities. And we have an opportunity to pace ourselves with the innovation that is occurring in these industries as well. So we may be able to move faster on some things. We may need to move slower on some things. So adapting over time is important. I like collaboration in particular. 25 billion divided by 4 million people doesn't sound as good as 25 billion divided by 40 million people, or maybe even the West, 90 million. So I think collaboration is very important in this process. I think we'll be seeing the results of some of the multi-state collaboration in the startup of the new and improved Intermountain Power Project later this year. So, and we've done multi-state collaboration in water since the beginning. So, but the impacts on rates are very high, approaching 8% on the power side and perhaps higher on the water side, or on the sanitation side and water. So I think if we are successful in that collaboration, we'll be imitated broadly. If not, not so much.
Will be criticized broadly, but it won't be small in either case, but we're aiming for the win because that's what this collaboration is all about.
You'll notice that Fred said respected former chairman, so you better start working on that.
I'm gonna try it. We're gonna find out.
Former president.
Mr. Pickle, or Dr. Pickle, has been just the foundation for us. And as some of you know, he is retiring. We keep yanking him back. But I do think this or April is your, maybe, your last period with us. And just thank God the Wi-Fi worked in here, because he was quoting Dwight Eisenhower. So this is the kind of man we have who is saying pearls of wisdom, and we thank you. And I looked that up. Planning is indispensable. Gain a deeper understanding of the situation, develop a vision and a direction, enhance adaptability, promote situational awareness. So this is the fountain of knowledge that we've had, because most of us would have gone back and looked this up to really harness ourselves to that vision. Dr. Pickle, I don't know what we're going to do without you, and thank you for that pearl that puts us back on point. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilma.
The saddest cases in energy and utilities are people sticking to a strategy that no longer works.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like that definition of insanity, which we're all familiar with. All right, Dr. Pickle, thank you. How about a joint agency presentation now?
All right. Let's do it. Finally.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Anselmo Collins. I'm the Senior AGM in charge of the water system for LADWP. And you have no idea how happy I am to be standing here talking about Pure Water Los Angeles, talking about the master plan, and the huge collaboration that's taking place between LADWP and LA-SAN. So I'm very happy to be standing here. I want to thank both the Public Works Board, the LADWP Board, but also I want to thank our project teams who've been working really hard at this for quite a long time, a lot longer than most of us have been working on this. I also want to thank the Mayor's Office for their leadership in bringing the two boards together and having a group that's been meeting for the last couple of years in making sure that we deliver a successful program for the city of LA. To the Office of Public Accountability, Dr. Pickle, for always providing us with that perspective, keeping in mind our ratepayers and making sure that affordability is paramount. And believe me, it is. And I appreciate your comments that you've always made about affordability. But also to all the other stakeholders also for the city who've been providing us with feedback. You heard today from Bruce Resnick, but also other members of the environmental community. We heard them loud and clear. I've committed to meeting with them on a monthly basis, both LADWP and LA-SAN, to be able to make sure that as we move forward in this program, that we're taking into consideration and really listening to their ideas. You heard a couple of them today. They had shared those with me before, and we committed to looking at them. So today it's not about completing something, it's about the beginning. We are beginning a very long, but also a process that is going to yield significant benefits to the city of Los Angeles. And I think that's very important for you to know. Like I said, there's been a lot of excellent work, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And it's being done by a lot of the folks that you're going to hear about or hear from today. Pure Water Los Angeles is going to provide us with an opportunity to deliver 230 million gallons of water per day to the city of Los Angeles. That's a significant amount of water. Just for perspective, on a daily basis, we provide around 450 million gallons a day currently to our customers. So as you can see, it's a pretty significant percentage of our water supply. Pure Water LA not only is going to provide a solution for recycled water, it's going to provide reliable and sustainable water to the city. but also it's going to help with resiliency. Resiliency to climate change, resiliency to earthquakes, droughts. I think we've all experienced those in the recent past, but also any other natural disaster that could take place as well. Now, there are a few major guiding principles that we still need to work on and expand even more. You heard some of them today by Bruce. We talked about the reliability of the water supply to the city, concerns about carbon footprint, because what you hear today, the plan is to pump the water from Hyperion up all the way up to the valley. So we're going to continue to look at that. We're going to continue to study to make sure that the program provides the environmental benefits to the Bay, which is important to all of us. Mm-hmm. And lastly, cost and affordability, which does not go lost on us. We recognize that this is a pretty significant project with a significant price tag, but we also believe that it's an investment in the future for the city of Los Angeles. And I compare it to, if we didn't invest that money, what would be the economic impact in the city if we don't have the water during some kind of emergency, right? We have another drought like we experienced in 2022, or an earthquake. So consequently, we have to look at this from that different mindset and different frame of mind. So just to kind of finish up here, equity is also a core value for us here. And we think about equity, we're talking about a couple of things. One is providing equitable, robust public engagement at every single step of the way. We're finishing the master plan, we're moving into the CEQA portion, and there's going to be a lot of public input there. We want to make sure we hear from the entire community. But also, when it comes to equity, is providing access to workforce development. We recognize that this program has the capacity and the potential to create a lot of jobs for the state of Los Angeles. And we believe that this is an opportunity for us, for LA San and Public Works, to work together with DWP to be able to create jobs for Angelinos. These are great jobs in the water industry, in the wastewater industry, that we know we don't have enough people coming into the industry. Now we can develop those programs, get them trained, and become part of our workforce. So for us, that is very important. So I want to encourage all the commissioners here today, both from Public Works and DWP, but also to all the folks that are watching us and listening to us today, that if you have comments or ideas, please share those with us, because that is the only way that we're going to make sure that we deliver the best program possible for the entire city of Los Angeles. So with that, I want to now ask our presenters for today. So that would be Rafael Villegas, who's a program manager from LADWP, and also Hubertus Cox from LA San. If they can please come up and take a seat, and they will be delivering the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anselmo. As they're coming up, just to keep it in perspective, when I was first elected, which was a long time ago, I was much younger then, LA was 15% reliant on imported water and 85% self-sufficient. We had our own water supply, we had our own sources. Today, it's the exact opposite. So that underscores the importance of this project. We are now 85% dependent on imported water and only 15% locally sourced. Now, we're making progress, and we've got some great projects underway. The department and the mayor's office and, the city has done a lot of great work with Public Works and with DWP to try and develop local sources. And, last meeting, we set aside some funding to go ahead with a couple of these projects. So now, turn it over to the gentleman to bring us up to date on our water future.
Good morning, Board President, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here and present to a convening of both boards. It's an honor for me to present alongside my colleague from LA San, Hube Cox, and brief you on the completion of the Pure Water Los Angeles Master Plan and the Hyperion Program Implementation Plans. And you're going to see that these documents really do lay the foundational work towards meeting the city's goals on recycled water. And here's our agenda for today. We're going to go over background of our water supplies, mission, vision, and goals, program approaches, alternatives, planning efforts, and then next steps.
This is an important presentation because, we've had a lot of presentations about what we hope to do, what we're going to do, what we might be able to do, and maybe fund something to do. President Eisenhower notwithstanding, this is actually a report on what has been done and how much progress we've made. So we're looking forward to this.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, a lot of you are familiar with this map. You see that Los Angeles relies on a diverse portfolio of water sources to meet the needs of its residents and business. This slide provides an overview of LADWP's key water supplies, which includes historical imports, imported purchased water, and local water. So historical imports is LA Aqueduct, represented by the dark blue in the center there. And on either side of that, the light blue is State Water Project and Colorado River Aqueduct, which we purchased from Metropolitan Water District. And our local supplies are rounded out by stormwater, groundwater, recycled water, and conservation plays an important role in demand management. Now, each of our water supplies comes with their unique challenges, and which have been exacerbated by climate change and increasing hydraulic variability. Wetter wets, drier dries, they're straining the capabilities of our existing supplies and infrastructure. And future climate estimates predict more frequent dry years and probability of longer and more severe droughts. So continuing to diversify our supply portfolio will ensure long-term reliability so that individual challenges to any one of these sources do not result in a total system loss. And while this diversity comes at a cost, not preparing for the challenging scenarios risk even higher costs to the long-term health and safety of the city of Los Angeles. So what we see is Pure Water Los Angeles will serve as a cornerstone to the city's continued efforts because of its drought resilience and its large-scale supply benefits. In our previous update in July, we shared updated mission, vision, and goals. So these key tenets continue to serve as the guiding principles for implementation. LADWP and LA SAN coordinate through City Hall's Climate Cabinet Water Resilience Working Group. So this task force provides leadership to LADWP and LA SAN program teams on topics such as unification, rebranding, goal setting, and strategic alignment. As part of the comprehensive planning effort, LADWP and LA SAN developed a master plan and program implementation plan for Hyperion to strategically achieve the goals of Pure Water Los Angeles, which you see here on the screen. So these documents evaluated a range of alternatives that maximize water reuse and optimize infrastructure investments while describing how to use Hyperion's water resources to bolster LA's resilience. Our next task is to figure out the appropriate timing and phasing of the program to meet these goals in an economical, environmentally friendly, and equitable manner. Now, moving on to this slide, I want to show this slide because it truly does show where we are in the overall process, and that this cake is not fully baked by any means. It illustrates the phased approach to the program development from initial planning to construction, and on the time scale at the bottom represents level of definition, and where you could have many alternatives when you're first starting. As you move through planning, initiation, project planning, design, and construction, you see the definition begins to crystallize. And this will be in terms of the processes that we have upcoming in terms of now that we're done with the master plan, with the program implementation plan, moving into program CEQA. But beyond the program CEQA and the engagement that's going to be involved with that, each of the projects that fall out of the program will have their own project level CEQA process and corresponding outreach that goes along with it. So it will be a sustained process of engaging with our stakeholders, and it's not going to be necessarily linear. There's going to be overlap in the way some of these projects initiate. So there's going to be blurring where some projects are farther ahead than others. We've estimated 30 plus major projects that are going to fall out of the program, and that's just on the outside of the fence line. So that does not account for the work inside the fence line and within Hyperion. Now, the master plan and program implementation plan for Hyperion, they are complementary plans, and you'll see that when I show the phasing later on. But what they both have determined is that it is technically feasible to produce up to 230 million gallons a day. But the analysis did indicate that the overall cost and schedule are ambitious, and supplies may actually outstrip demand. So further analysis is needed to understand what the final program elements will conceive of. And in terms of program strategy, it's important to keep in mind on the master plan and the program implementation plan that they are just foundational building blocks for pure water, Los Angeles. But by no means represent the final product. Again, want to stress that the cake is not baked yet. What our study showed is that the original concept that was presented in 2021 was also very aggressive, and they were aggressive to implement, and given the cost, scale, and complexity, what we're seeing is we can implement this program if we step back, do it in a measured approach, that we take account of affordability, and that's where the phasing that you're going to see lays out our proposal in terms of how we see the program rolling out. And these documents we produce provide a useful point of discussion with our community partners about what the city's water reuse plans might look like. Additional development, you see there at the bottom of the slide, final sizing, phasing, alignments of the program and its infrastructure, treatment levels of the water, location for treatment, storage facilities, reuse for both above and below the ground. Want to be able to determine partnership options along with respective roles and responsibilities, and better understand and further study hydraulics, real estate needs, and other program level considerations. This slide outlines the screened alternatives that fit under two distinctive program approaches. So the master plan includes replenishment of our groundwater basins, regional partnerships, and moving water to the top of our metro system at the Los Angeles Aqueduct filtration plant. Approach 2 leverages the newly developed direct potable reuse regulations alternative clause, where it takes indirect potable reuse water quality and then you polish that water prior to integration at the filtration plant. Approach 3 that you see there on the bottom right assumes the use of the prescribed treatment train that's within the direct potable reuse regulations. The major difference being that your delivery options increase along these alignments, where you can drop water off at reservoirs or even do pipe-to-pipe connections. Two major considerations. What we see is the last drought showed that getting water to the filtration plant for us is a priority in terms of direct potable reuse. To build in reliability for parts of our system that are state water project dependent areas. What we also learned was indirect potable reuse only into groundwater basins, which is another important use, does not provide the highest benefit for two reasons. One is the state water project dependent areas still remain vulnerable, and we saw that basins fill up within the first decade. So the plan is to further evaluate what's the proper balance between indirect potable reuse and direct potable reuse. And you see here, I'm going to gray out two of the alignments, and I'm going to focus on approach 2, alternative 5, and I'm going to show infrastructure involved with that just as an illustration. Again, I want to stress that there are many alternatives that we have on the table, and we're going to be looking at others as well. Now, Phase 1 provides a supply of 50 million gallons a day to the Central Basin and to the San Fernando Basin, along with construction of distribution facilities. And you can see the cost here, about $10 billion, 16 years. You will see here the needed infrastructure, pipes, pump stations, storage tanks, and so forth. And you can also see the expected destination and potential capacity of the water, what I call them buckets. Phase 2 builds on this slide. It shows an additional 50 million gallons a day, this time extending to the Los Angeles Aqueduct filtration plant, and additional conveyance infrastructure for $3.7 billion in an additional 6 years. Phase 3 is what we consider the full build out, and that would provide up to 130 million gallons a day for a total of 230 million gallons a day with increased deliveries to Central Basin, San Fernando Basin, and the LA Aqueduct filtration plant. The infrastructure is already there. You've already constructed it in the prior phases, so it's just a matter of increasing the flows through that system. The one new thing on this slide is the connection to Pure Water Southern California that you see there on the bottom right. So this phase, additional $7 billion over 10 years. And this shows everything combined. As currently estimated, this alternative includes about 30 major projects with a total capital cost of about $21 billion over 32 years. And again, this represents only one conceptual alternative of the master plan, and other alternatives do differ in alignment, cost, and schedule. But what the intent to show is how the phasing is in terms of how Hyperion's going to be converting to their treatment system lines up to where can we find the buckets to put that water to ensure that you have more capacity to put in water as the water is being produced. And also based on the meeting we had with LA Waterkeeper, NRDC, and Gila Bay, we will be looking and studying the alternative of splitting the system, potentially just valley water and main basin water. And here I'll hand it over to Hugh to talk about the good work they're doing inside the fence line at Hyperion.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. Good morning, Commissioners. Huub Cox, LA Sanitation and Environment. And I will take a few minutes to highlight the planning efforts for Hyperion, which can be seen as the starting point of the program, as well as a potential location for producing recycled water. And Hyperion today is a full secondary wastewater treatment plant receiving more than 85% of the city's wastewater. And Hyperion today discharges about 230 million gallons of secondary effluent into Santa Monica Bay every single day. So after 4 years of engineering work, we can now confirm the technical feasibility of transforming Hyperion to an advanced water purification facility, providing up to 230 million gallons per day of new recycled water, potentially available as a new local potable water source. What you see on this slide is an aerial view of Hyperion today, with an overlay of the areas that would need to be retrofitted for the future Hyperion as an advanced water purification facility. And there are two takeaways with this slide. First, we propose to upgrade the existing secondary treatment process to a membrane bioreactor process. This will improve treatment, but it will also allow the removal of the secondary clarifiers at Hyperion. And that will create the space that we need for building the new advanced water purification facilities. The second takeaway is that the transformation of Hyperion will have to be done in 3 separate phases. And the good news here is that the Hyperion phases are aligned with the master plan phasing for the conveyance and the end uses of recycled water. Next slide. So while we're planning for Pure Water Los Angeles, we are also working on 2 real or actual recycled water projects at Hyperion. And those 2 projects you see on this slide here. At the left is the Hyperion Advanced Water Purification Facility. This is a 1.5 MGD facility that will produce recycled water to offset potable water use at LAX as well as at Hyperion itself. Construction of this facility was completed last year in 2024, and we hope to take this facility to production in about 2 months from now. At the right, we have the MBR pilot facility. This is a test facility to obtain regulatory approval from the State Water Board for using membrane bioreactors to produce recycled water for potable reuse. Construction of this pilot facility was also completed last year. We're tying up a few loose ends, and we hope to start a testing program of this facility towards the end of this year. Next slide, please. So upgrading Hyperion's existing secondary treatment process to a membrane bioreactor process is essential for recycled water and the Pure Water Los Angeles program. But it has the added benefit of significantly reducing future pollutant discharges to Santa Monica Bay. Because membrane bioreactors are much more efficient in removing pollutants from wastewater, we anticipate that the future Hyperion will reduce the ocean discharge of nitrogen, suspended solids, and the biochemical oxygen demand by at least 80% or even more. So this is really good news for Santa Monica Bay by itself, but it also illustrates the benefits of leveraging the goals between the two departments by creating cost synergies, which ultimately will benefit everyone in Los Angeles. With that, back to you, Rafael.
Thank you, Hugh. So here you see additional work needed to determine the final configuration of the program. For the interest of time, I won't go through them all, but to summarize, a lot of important detailed foundational work has been completed on the program scope. There are still many steps to complete, but we are moving forward. And I echo the sentiment, and I tell my staff all the time, the completion of the master plan is not the end, it's the beginning of our efforts. That concludes the presentation, but before I turn it over to discussion, I also wanted to thank all those who contributed to the master plan and the program implementation plan. In addition to the folks mentioned here in this room, including Anselmo, I do want to thank Anselmo for his leadership on this and pushing us over this finish line. I also want to thank Water System Executive Team for their support, my team, LA San, supporting teams from both water and power, our partner agencies, consultant teams who work tirelessly to ensure we met our deadlines, and all these folks rose to the occasion, and for that, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. It's fascinating, and it's great to see the progress and the next steps laid out. Now all we got to do is, meet the timeline or accelerate it. But I think everybody here is committed to doing that in both agencies. Comments, questions?
Did you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for this presentation. As I mentioned earlier, can you hear me okay through the mask? I apologize. I have a cold, which I'm trying not to give everyone, but I definitely did not want to miss this because this is, as I mentioned earlier, really historic. So thank you, Anselmo and Barbara and Hugh and Raphael as well. As Raphael just mentioned, there are a lot of staff also here who contributed to this on the DWP side, Evelyn Cortez Davis and Greg Reed, Paul Liu. On the sanitation side, I'm Tracy Minamide, who also has been continuing, not retiring. Like Fred, we are grateful for so many who are so dedicated to their service that they're willing to stretch out that time and help us get where we're going. So really appreciate everyone's hard work. I also wanted to thank Virginia Way, who's a water policy analyst in the mayor's office, who's been critical to helping bring this all together, and of course support from the deputy mayors, Sutley and Winston. Truly, this is not only historic, but really an important model for how the city needs to work together. So a lot of the challenges that we're facing, the climate crisis, the biodiversity crisis, these are challenges within complex systems. And in order to solve them, we really have to take a systems approach. And nowhere is that clearer than water. This whole concept of One Water is about really understanding that water at every stage of the system and in every form needs to be managed in an integrated way. And that is not easy to do. Organizations tend to have silos and structures, and solving sustainability challenges is as much about rethinking how we organize and work across those silos as it is about any technical piece of the solution. So this is really important work that I think can be a model for a lot of other challenges that we're facing as a city. So just really want to acknowledge that and thank you all for your leadership on this. I also wanted to emphasize the context, which a couple others have brought in today, and that this is a piece of the puzzle as LA moves towards 70% local water. Pure Water LA is critical and a major program, but it's also combined with the groundwater replenishment project at Tillman and stormwater capture, especially multi-benefit stormwater projects and how we integrate nature-based solutions. All of that fits together into how we're creating local water. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and I mainly just want to thank you for all of your work on this. I don't have any questions at this time, but I'll turn it over to my other commissioners in case they do have other comments and questions.
I would like,
George?
I'd like to sort of advocate for the workforce development and making sure that, that piece of it with the community college system. I know LA Trade Tech is ready to jump in, some of the other universities like Woodbury. So not, we have a community college system that really could benefit from these opportunities. And that in terms of, I want to make sure that either, some of us have young families who are learning, young families, yes, have children with young families who want to participate. So where these meetings, go down and where they happen is really important. They care, they understand enough, they want to be good members of society. They have family members that, are involved in big organizations like ESRI and or Google and others. So just make sure that the meetings are somewhat are available and that the communication is out there. That whether there's 3 meetings a year or whatever it is, they want to learn and they want to participate. Thank you.
George?
Well, the brevity of this presentation belies how much work went into it to take something that complex and and focus it down for everybody. I also want to add my thanks to Susana Reyes, who's here, and to Teresa Villegas for their support. I remember 2 years ago sitting with both of them trying to wrap our heads around how to bring our institutions together in a more collaborative approach. And our boards have been present and meeting regularly as part of the mayor's climate cabinet on this, but really it's our staffs who have so deeply integrated, and that has to do with the direction set by leadership. So I really want to acknowledge and thank you, Janice, for coming in and hitting the ground running on this, taking our goals around this so seriously, and aligning your staff to go after this with us, especially putting Evelyn Cortez Davis in your chief of staff for the water side of the House position, so that she could rally all the troops in support of this really important project. I have a number of quick questions. I would love it, Cube and Raphael, if we could get an answer to Bruce's question. So about the alternatives, specifically the geographic alternatives, and if we've considered splitting as part of the master plan some of the locations in which we're pursuing treatment for IPR or DPR. I know alternative 1 just looks like an east, or just looks at an east-west connection and doesn't involve pumping back up to the San Fernando Valley. But can you just sort of explain to us all, because this has been a long process, both independently and now collectively, the different sort of siting options we've looked at, how, the sort of level of consideration, and for those following along, they get a copy of the master plan. Section 4 really outlines these alternatives in detail. But can you take us through that question specifically if we've looked at sort of citing the same technology in multiple places to reduce the pump back burden on the system?
Sure. Hugh, do you want to talk about the...
Yeah, perhaps I can kick it off and then give over to Raphael. But if you look at our conveyance system and the sanitation system currently, so of course most of the wastewater does go down to Hyperion, 85%. But if you look at the current system, we do have 2 satellite plants in the San Fernando Valley, right? DCT and LHE, water reclamation plants. So the concept is already there to harvest some of that wastewater in the San Fernando Valley. And then we can indeed evaluate how we can convert more of that wastewater that is captured by those satellite plants and convert it in recycled water. So that is an evaluation that we definitely have to do. But at the same time, the more we harvest that wastewater in the San Fernando Valley, we also have to evaluate the downstream impacts on the conveyance system, more south in the city, and the potential impacts on Hyperion as well.
Speaking of downstream impacts on the conveyance system, really, I was so pleased to see that our friends from MWD are here. I imagine we have some friends from West Basin in the room too. You know, our sort of partnerships across the region are really what make this possible, because as Rafael mentioned, there's a real risk here if we plan this really well that our production of recycled water may outstrip demand. And so we have to have a place in the system to shunt that excess water to make sure that we're not flooding out the city and we're not pouring excess water at the high treatment level into the Santa Monica Basin and wasting it. So I'm wondering specifically about where our conversations with West Basin are. And if you can describe to me, you know, we have, I want to say, I wrote it down, but I want to say 35 MGD, right, with West Basin now. And so I'm wondering if you can also talk us through, in the overall 230 that the project is gunning for at the highest level, you know, where does that 35 fit in? Is it part of the 230 or is it on top of it? If it's part of the 230, in which phase does that water that, you know, we're collaborating with West Basin on get taken out of that total?
Sure, I can talk about that. So the master plan assumes sort of a status quo in our relationship with West Basin now, as the conversion of Hyperion starts to progress and you're developing higher quality treated effluent for advanced treatment, then we need to have conversations in terms of cost recovery and so forth with West Basin. But for at least for the first 2 phases, one of the alternatives is to continue to supply secondary treated effluent because we're not using it, but at the point where that 3rd phase gets taken down and all the flow gets shifted into the first 2 phases, then it's MBR treated, membrane bioreactor treated water, and it's just a matter of in our discussions whether or not it's appropriate or I don't want to say appropriate, but most feasible to provide that MBR treated water or advanced treated water. Those conversations are ongoing. We've had meetings with West Basin considering how the partnership moves forward, but one of the key milestones was the release of the master plan. So I believe EJ is here today. We handed him a copy as well, and we'll be having follow-up meetings after they digest what's in those reports, and then we can continue to have more detailed conversations on how to structure agreements moving forward.
So presumably, just for now, the supposition would be that that amount at 35 MGD would stay consistent, and what we need to negotiate is the level of treatment likely in the relationship and Correct. At what phase that level of treatment becomes available.
Correct.
That's helpful. Thank you. I don't have any other specific questions other than just to offer my congratulations and also just attune everyone to the fact that while we've done a tremendous amount of work around this master plan and around the Hyperion implementation plan, we've also been moving as an institution and as a board toward some really practical kind of on-the-ground measures to prepare for Pure Water LA, including investments by the airport and at Tillman and advanced water recycling that serve as learning pilots for us on how best to execute this technology over time. So I don't want it to get lost that this is not only a planning process, we are actually moving forward with construction and implementation of a number of physical facilities that will enable us to do this work effectively in the future. And those are some investments that we just approved at the board level in the last couple months. So you know, for those of you out there that hear a rumor that this is just about the paper, just about the plan, no, there's actual boots on the ground work getting done around the science that we'll need to implement this successfully, and those investments are being made by the board on behalf of the city. Thank you both.
I wanted to see if our Public Works Commissioner colleagues have any questions or comments they'd like to share.
Yes, thank you. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, I think this is a great step forward. As you heard, the Hyperion Program Implementation Plan and the Master Plan have provided a strong foundation to guide this program as it prepares to take its next steps as part of the CEQA process. And the work that we've been doing on the climate cabinet with my colleagues, Vice President McGraw and Commissioner KATZ, along with Deputy Mayor Nancy Sutley, we are very much committed to the stakeholder outreach process, hearing from our partner agencies, from our friends in the non-governmental organization sphere, from committed community members, and environmental experts in the field. This work is going to continue, and it's something that we're really, really committed to because transparency is really important to accountability in this process. So I did want to make that announcement to the folks watching at home. Your voice matters, and it's going to be moving forward. As you mentioned, there's going to be a variety of actions that our respective boards are going to be taking, and steps. Things are moving forward. Hyperion is about to deliver in a couple months, and we will continue to be taking those actions. But I do look forward to continuing this symbiotic relationship, not just with our staffs, but with the boards. And I know that we're doing it on the climate cabinet, but I would love to see more of these joint meetings as we hit major milestones in the future, so that it's not just a one-off and it's a continuing relationship. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleagues here on the Board of Public Works.
Thank you. I think we're all pleased to be part of this today, this collaboration about developing both water conservation resiliency and ensuring that there's a sustainability within the city. I have to say that the axiom that more minds are brilliant and provide a greater perspective than one is clearly true in this situation. In fact, given I'm feeling, reading this report and hearing it again today reminds me when I was taking math analysis that I sort of understood it when I was in the classroom, but as soon as I left, I was just a swarm of ideas that didn't make I couldn't fit quite together. But I am convinced that the most difficult part of this collaboration is going to be the walk from City Hall to here, uphill. That in fact, it's so impressive what's been done. I think mishear waterkeepers about the necessity of winds. I actually thought that we have the necessity of winds with a D at our back to be able to. And I think this collaboration provides that opportunity, but going forward, it has to continue with sort of waves of support to bring, because we've seen in major projects that they can get derailed easily. And I think we need to sort of keep our eye on the prize going forward and continuing this collaboration. But the perspective here, and I think the prowess that all the staff has provided, and past commissioners, I think enable us, give me a sense of confidence that this thing is going to take place. But I'm just so impressed, and thank you again for this opportunity to come together. And one last thing, Commissioner LEHRER's comment about workforce development. We had a number of young girls who, from the Gala Academy, were honored at the Board of Public Works, and their interest in the STEM program engineers. And I think it's not too soon to begin to develop that, to begin to, in fact, have that walk side by side with the construction aspects, the planning aspects of this, of the development for young leaders, especially young women in terms of this, to bring this to fruition. Thank you.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for hosting us, especially to our colleagues at the DWP Board of DWP and to all of our city family for joining us today. So as our Vice President mentioned earlier, I was actually talking to Vice President Chavez earlier, how excited I am to finally meet our colleagues here, because although we're two separate entities, there are many projects at the city that are intertwined. And as we're a bit more public-facing, given that we're a full-time role here, we do get a lot of questions from the public about DWP and would love to partner on additional subject matter as we move forward. I did have a question related to our presenters. At the beginning of your presentation, I did hear a little bit of a caveat after phase 3 with the total capacity of 230 million waters per day. And I know we're looking at implementation of 2055, so that is a long time from today. And just wanted to hear whether that 230 was a conservative estimate or what other, so I heard a little bit of that from your introduction.
Sure. So when you're looking, and Hugh could probably speak to the capacity of the amount of water that we're projecting will run through Hyperion, but we're looking at historical trends on the water that's currently going through Hyperion. And if you run it through the treatment processes that we're proposing, there's a certain amount of waste stream that results from that, particularly with reverse osmosis. And when you do that, we're basing those losses, and then you have product water, and that's what the 230 is based on, and it is a higher end. And it is crystal ball work, because you could have projections for increased population, but then you have water use efficiency on top of it. Demands could stay flat, or as we saw over the last couple of years, demands have actually decreased, both from water use efficiency, but also less people living in the city. You have people moving out, and some projections out there say that populations in LA County is going to continue to decline, but how that affects the city versus other parts of the county. So it's our best guess at this time, and I believe it's a higher end. It is a higher end number, but again, that could change. And the beauty of being able to phase the program is that it allows you to then recalibrate. So if you get past the first phase and you're seeing a different trend, maybe you need to pivot for that second phase and then again for that third phase. So it leaves you the flexibility to do that.
Yeah, just to add a little bit, so the 230 MGD of new recycled water is based on a projection of future wastewater flow to Hyperion of what we assume to be 272 million gallons per day. So that is the target value that we have. So out of that 272, we can produce 230. If you want to get more water out of it, it becomes prohibitively expensive to do so. So that's how we landed on 230. Yeah.
Okay. So as we sort of move forward in our phases and you adjust those numbers, one ask from me is that if you could keep all of us informed about the future projections, I would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank the board of DWP for inviting us here, and certainly it's great to hear the work that both departments, LA-SAN and DWP staff have done, along with any consultants that they may have had to use. This is fascinating. It's very interesting. I consider myself an infrastructure person, but after taking a tour of Hyperion last Thursday with the historian, so to speak, and hearing all this wonderful stuff, I'm like, geez, what else could get more complicated than just hearing his presentation today? So I'm outside of my usual element with regard to understanding all this, but I'm a fast learner. So I think this is fascinating. I think this is important. I think it's long overdue. Sometimes people look at movies in context and they think Chinatown is real. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's very important. Most of us think about stuff when it's not there. They think about stuff when the water main is broken, or they think about stuff about somebody watering their lawn and all that fresh water going down the drain and what happens to it. I think this is a great opportunity, a great start. And I do want to emphasize that I think it's very important when we start going through the environmental process, we start educating everybody about what this means to their communities. And sometimes we have to kind of drag people out of where they are in terms of their comfort levels. It could be grade schools, it could be STEM programs, it could be any of a number of things. Because one thing we know about kids, they go home and they teach their parents. And it doesn't matter what community we're talking about. It doesn't matter if you're talking about immigrant communities or if you're talking about somebody whose family's been here 3, 4, 5 generations. We have to make sure that we educate at the lowest level. We have to go out in communities we're not used to going out into and making sure that those presentations are made so we can help people understand what this represents to them and their families. It represents upward mobility. It represents workforce. It represents educational processes or exposure to education that they might not otherwise have in terms of what they can do with their lives and how simple turning on the faucet impacts them. So I commend both staffs. I'm happy to be here at DWP. I hope to be able to come again and further discuss your progress and your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Other comments? All commented out for the moment? No, I appreciate that. You know, the one thing that'll be interesting, because you talked about the maximum of 250, and, you know, we don't know between now and then the technology changes that may take place as well, because and what impact that'll have and how far beyond that, or what will be done differently. I mean, I think back to, you know, I believe and I know there's enough experts in here who can correct me if I get the numbers wrong, but the per capita use of water in LA today is similar to what it was in the mid-70s, I believe. And, you know, and there's like 1 million more people, but that's because of the technology and conservation and the progress we made. So, you know, so we have a great plan here, and we have a plan that's going to be designed so that we can accommodate technology changes as that happens as well. So, you know, 250 in some ways is almost like a floor in terms of, it may be the most we can use right now or we think about, but as we go forward, maybe other opportunities, and we have to be open to that. But certainly what's been put together in the plan that is in front of us is really incredible. It is a tribute to a lot of men and women working long hours and families wondering, can you really still be working on water all this long? And things like that. But please, we'll reassure them, you reassure them that you're doing God's work, and this city is going to be much better off, as is our environment, for everything you've all been doing, the time and effort you put into it, and the leadership that you're showing, particularly when so many people would much rather say, no, you can't, than roll up their sleeves and get it done. And we're very proud of all of you. We're also pleased to be part of it, even a small part, as you do the hard work, and look forward to future milestones as we bring this to fruition. So, anyone else want to comment? With that, I think that will conclude this part of the meeting. I want to thank our friends from Public Works for joining us here today. As I said, we'll do this sooner than 13 years again. And what we're going to do, we're going to adjourn this meeting, take a 5-minute break, and then start the DWP Board of Commissioners meeting.
President KATZ, one last thing I did forget to mention is that the documents are live on the DWP website, so dwp.com/purewater Los Angeles.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you all. Thank you. Very impressive. Thank you and congratulations. Yeah, we should have a ribbon that you walk through or something.